Hi, my name's Jessica, and I'm an intern at the Community Immigration Law Center. Hello. Today we'll be talking about the naturalization process. Naturalization is the process by which U.S. citizenship is granted to a lawful permanent resident after meeting the requirements established by Congress in the Immigration and Nationality Act. Today we will go over the basic requirements and the overall process of applying to naturalize to become a U.S. citizen. The basic eligibility requirements to obtain U.S. citizenship are 1. The applicant is at least 18 years of age, 2. Has been a permanent resident for the past 5 years or 3 years if the applicant is married to a U.S. citizen, 3. Has permanently resided in the United States for at least 5 years. This means that the applicant has had their permanent home in the U.S. for at least 5 years. Or the applicant has been physically present in the United States for at least 30 months of the 5 years immediately before applying, or 15 months of the 3 years period if the applicant is married to a U.S. citizen. This refers to the number of the days that the applicant is physically present in the United States versus being abroad. 5. Has lived within the state in which they intend to apply for naturalization for at least 3 months prior to the date of filing. 6. Has good moral character. And 7. The applicant can read, write, speak, and understand English and demonstrate an understanding of the basics of U.S. history and the U.S. government, also referred to as civics. Moving on to the application process itself, there are 3 main parts. First is completing and filing the naturalization application, also referred to as the N-400 form, either online or by mail. There is a government filing fee that the applicant must pay when they submit their application, and this fee is $50 cheaper if the applicant submits their application online. For people or families who are low income, it may be possible to pay a reduced fee or no fee at all. If the applicant is requesting a reduced fee or not to pay the fee at all, they must mail a paper application and cannot file their application online. Interviewing at USCIS, this is part 2. This is where the applicant will take their civics and English exam. After the interview, the officer has up to 120 days to make a decision on their case. And then step 3, once the naturalization application is approved, the applicant is then scheduled to attend a naturalization oath ceremony where they become a U.S. citizen. We'll review each of these steps in more detail in the next slides. Here we have a photo of the first page of the naturalization application itself. If you are completing your application on paper, it's important to get your application from the USCIS website because the applications are updated regularly and you want to ensure that you are filling out the newest edition of the application. If you do not, the government will send the application back and request that you complete the most up-to-date version. The application will ask about your eligibility for naturalization, information about you, your biographical information, information about where you've resided, your marital history, your children, your employment history, schools you've attended, and time you spent outside the U.S., and more. Once your application is filed, you will have an interview with USCIS. The goal of the interview with USCIS is to complete a security and criminal background check, review your complete immigration record, test for English and civics requirements. For the civics exam, there is a list of 100 questions to study. The immigration officer asks 10 questions during the interview, and you'll only need to get 6 correct. You'll also have to be able to read 1 sentence in English and write 1 sentence in English. The officer will point to a sentence on a screen and you must read it aloud. Next, the officer says a sentence out loud and you must be able to write the sentence on the screen. If you applied for an exception to the English and civics requirement, the immigration officer will review whether you qualify for an exception during the interview. An applicant may be eligible for an exception to the English requirement if they are a certain age and have had the green card for a certain period of time. In addition, an applicant who has a physical or developmental disability or mental impairment may be eligible for a medical exception of both the English and civics requirement. Once you've had your interview and the immigration officer has approved your naturalization application, the final step will be attending the naturalization ceremony. It's important to note that you are not a citizen until you attend the ceremony, even if you pass the interview. At the ceremony, you will give your green card to the immigration officer, take your oath of allegiance to the United States, and receive a naturalization certificate. Once you're done with the ceremony, you will apply for a U.S. passport through the Department of State. And that is the overview of the naturalization process. Thank you for taking the time to learn about the basics of the naturalization application. If you have any questions related to a specific case, please reach out to an immigration attorney in your area for your legal needs.